Hello and welcome to a first set of multiple things that I will be putting on my channel. Very quickly, most of it is to do, well, I think all of the stuff to do with tech right now is going to be for my innovation class. It's part of my final project, so that's why it's on my YouTube channel. And for all the people that are in the class that are watching this and trying to learn about everything that I'm doing, welcome. What I'm doing right now is I'm going to showcase the Raspberry Pi. I think this is a Raspberry Pi 3 Model B version 1.2. So it's kind of an old one. I've had this for about 4-ish years, give or take, if I remember correctly. I got it for Christmas 2016, before I went to college, just before. And I didn't really use it a whole lot. As you can see, it's kind of dusty there. It's got a lot of dust going on in there. I need to clean it out and whatnot. But I didn't use it a whole lot. And then while I was during Innovation 2 class, about halfway through the semester, quarantine did hit and we couldn't go onto campus, so I had to find projects to do at home. Luckily I had Raspberry Pi, I have a few. I think I have this Arduino and then maybe another one laying around somewhere. I haven't been able to find it. 2 Node MCUs and a couple RFID tags. So there's a few different things that I could have worked on, and then I decided why not take a look at like networking projects. So I was Googling around looking for stuff, and I came across Pi-hole, which is basically a DNS level ad blocker. It technically works as a DNS and DHCP server instead of your router. So like right now my router hands out IP addresses and routes all of my information from my computers and other devices on the network out to the internet and back. But basically what Pi-hole does is it allows the Arduino, or the Raspberry Pi, sorry, the Raspberry Pi, or if you build it in a Docker container, then it technically virtualizes on your computer and you act as your own DNS server. Not going to get into a whole lot of that because I don't fully understand it, but how I decided to do it is I decided to use a physical machine to basically be a DNS server that runs on Raspbian Lite. So this runs headless, meaning that it does not have a GUI on top of it, and you run everything through the command line, which I will just link a video of a guy going through that below, and the website that I use to follow the tutorial, because it is kind of long and also gives out sensitive information. I don't want to take the time to edit that out for this video. So yeah, sorry I guess, but I use this headless, as I said, and I run in through SSH for my main machine. Basically allows you to, I can use the command prompt on my computer through PuTTY, which is a software that can SSH through 2 different machines, or I can also use on my phone, my iPhone. I have a app called Terminus, which also allows you to SSH into machines as long as you know the IP address, the physical name, and the physical address of the machine that you're going to. And of course a login and password set up for that. So this Raspberry Pi is set up for SSH and has Pi-hole on it. I am also working on building an FTP server, which is File Transfer Protocol, and basically just going to use it to route in and all information to and from different machines. Instead of across my router, I'm just going to do it into the Pi across my switch that I have plugged in behind me. So that isn't fully finished yet, and I will have a write-up of it in for my final project paper, so you will read about that at least. I will also link that below if I can do that. I'm not 100% sure. I think I'll make a Google Doc and you can take a look at it and read through all of my descriptions for all of my projects. So I think that's pretty much all I need to explain on camera. That's pretty simple. Ethernet port obviously is what I have it plugged into. It's 100 by 100 if I remember correctly. Plugged into a switch that's plugged into my router. Everything routes through this thing. Well, right now technically it's my main PC and a server PC that I have sitting right behind me. Those two are being used through this. And now I'm going to go ahead and head over to my computer and walk you through the UI, the web page that this hosts, more or less. I think that's pretty much all I need to talk about here. Yeah, the Ethernet cable I have plugged in on one side, and then I have the power, which is just I think it's a simple mini HDMI, maybe even be a USB Type-C connector that I just have plugged into a surge protector that has USB power. And that's all that's plugged into this thing, and that's about all it does. And it just sits there and does its thing. So let's head over to my computer. I will show you the UI of Pi-hole and show you how you actually set up blocking ads and other things. Alright, and now we're on my computer, and I'm going to go ahead and show you the general admin web page that Pi-hole hosts from my Raspberry Pi, and allows you to configure and set up block lists and whitelists for your blockers. So for me, all I got to do is type in like 192.168.1.4, which is the IP address for Pi-hole, which is what I told it to be. You click, you go into it, and it's saying, did you mean to go to the admin page? Because there is not actually an introductory splash page. There's only the admin panel, which adds the /admin to it. And usually when you first log in, it will ask you for a username and a password. I already have those saved, and I have it set to remember for 7 days, so that's why I didn't have that option. So anyways, the first thing you will see once you log in is the general dashboard. So that will have things like all the total queries. Right now I have 4 clients that are connected. I have 41 of those have been blocked. Of that percent, 0.1 of them actually blocked successfully, I guess. And I have 92,000 domains on the block list. Basically, 92,000. If I can find the right link, there was a GitHub link to a bunch of ad URL/domains, and just had a whole list of them. I just copy pasted that into my block list. That's how I got 92,000 of them. I really only use like 6 right now that I know of that function properly. The rest of them, they're a bit iffy. But it doesn't just block ads. I mean, you're blocking the domain name for the ad that's running on the website that you're looking at, but you can also block domain names in general. So like if you don't want anybody to access, say, weather.com, you can just go to your block list. You can just type in weather.com, and it'll add it. And then we'll refresh. So let's try and go to weather.com. Site can't be reached. Weather.com server IP cannot be found because DNS probe saying you can't go there. So if we were to go back into here, and it's right there in the bottom, which as you can see, I'm blocking quite a few actual domains. Most of them have to do with Twitch and Amazon ad services, and a few Google ones for YouTube. Haven't been able to get all of the ones from YouTube because Google does host some, but then they also rent out to like Chevy and car dealerships and people like that. Those are more centralized, so every time I see one, I have to add it to the block list, basically. So if you don't want weather.com to be blocked, all you can do is click the trash can button, and boom, it's gone. So now I go back to weather.com, I can refresh, and it opens up. However, you notice that there wasn't any ads displayed because I have uBlock Origin, which is what I used to use before I found that I can build this myself. But also, it is a very useful tool, by the way, because you can also go over to it and it shows you all of the things that are being blocked or all the potential domains that are connected to the website you're looking at. Like, as you can see, it's blocking 2 out of the 5 total domains, and it's blocking some of weather.com's stuff. So basically, we're looking at doubleclick.net and newrelic.com and tabula.com. So let's go ahead and add those to the block list. That one, that one. See, that one's not going to work because it already exists. It's already on I already have it in there, which was a part of the group of ones that I already knew were bad or were servicing just ads/trackers. So now I can disable this and refresh. You will see a few things like advertisements will pop up because, like in this case, that didn't pop up because I am blocking one of those addresses I'm trying to find. Let's go to my network. This is my computer. Let's see if it shows what it tried to just block there. It might take a minute because there's 92,000 different ones that I had to run through to fill, and I have a couple thousand queries that I have from this computer. So that's why you see sometimes the sidebars and things will load, but not display anything, because weather.com is still getting that information, but we're just blocking it on our end. So our router is still getting that information right now. So that's why these things are still showing up, because I do not have Pi-hole configured for my router's DNS and DHCP server, which you can do. I have just decided not to do it on my network because I have like 15 to 20 devices, and the Pi 3B doesn't have a lot of processing power and can overheat very quickly. So I'm basically just using it for my 2 main machines that I use to balance the load, which you can see right up here in this top corner, the amount of usage, the temperature, the load, and all of that stuff. You can keep an eye on that. So that is why, all right, there we go, we have that done. That is why add blocks will still load in, is because the router is still getting that information, but I am then just stripping the addresses once it hits my computer. So the router is still effectively getting all of that information regardless and trying to send it, but the Pi-hole is stripping that information and then just servicing what I asked it to. Which you can see all of this stuff would have been blocked. See, 29 out of 29 different items. So that's why I like uBlock Origin, is because it gives you a nice little detail of everything that could possibly be loading on your computer, or at least on your web pages. And so having that, it blocks it at the router level, which I can also do with the Pi-hole. Just as I said, I do not have it configured to do so. So with that being said, I think I showed everything. I don't think I have any whitelists. Whitelists are basically, you could set up to where they can only access weather.com and any other website is gone. Or they can only access this ad domain, I guess, if you really wanted to do that. Don't know why you would, but I guess you could. There's also other things where you can disable and enable it. I generally run it disabled because I do have uBlock Origin that works better, and I also don't want to overheat the Pi. So I generally will just use this extension. There are other ad blockers out there that you can use, and to each their own. A few other things that I'm not too 100% sure on are gravity updates and query lists, and there is audit logs to see what you've added, what you didn't add, who added them, that kind of thing. Haven't really gone into too much detail on all of that stuff, so I'm not fully knowledgeable on those either. But with that being said, I think that pretty much covers everything to do with Pi-hole, at least what I have configured so far. If you would like to set it up for yourself, I will put in the link, like I said earlier. It will all be in the description down below. There will be a link to a website, and then I think that's pretty much all there actually was. I don't know if I watched a YouTube video on that or not, but it didn't take me too long to set up. But then again, I also kind of already understood how to use Raspbian. I already know how to use Raspbian Lite, which is headless version. I understood the command line. I understand SSH. And I also have a pretty good understanding of what DNS does and how IP addresses are handled and how domains work. So it might be a bit more confusing for new people to networking in general, but if you do kind of understand all of that and you are pretty efficient in that field, this is actually a pretty good piece of technology. Really, it's very helpful if you want to understand everything that's going in and out of your network, and you can keep an eye on what's going on. So it's also a good tool for managing what's happening on your network if you set it up right. So with that being said, thank you for watching. Hope you're all staying safe out there. And I got like 2 or 3 other videos that I'll probably be making. So yeah. These are just for class, by the way. If I know I already said at the beginning of the video, but these are just for my Innovation 2 course for my final. But I'm going ahead and I'm putting it on the YouTube channel in case somebody might want to look it up one day and learn how to do it. Maybe I can intrigue you to do it for yourself. So with that being said, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.